Hey Coffee Holly family, so last week I'm making my usual morning Nespresso. You know, pop in the pod, press the button, done in 30 seconds, perfect for someone like me who can barely function before 10 a.m. But then my Italian friend Marco walks into my kitchen, takes one look at what I'm doing and makes this face like I just put pineapple on pizza. "That's not espresso," he says, and I'm thinking, what do you mean? The box literally says espresso. Well, folks, turns out I opened a can of worms bigger than my morning caffeine addiction. This is apparently the biggest coffee argument on the planet right now. So I did what any curious coffee lover would do. I spent way too much time researching this instead of doing my actual job, and what I found is going to blow your mind. Comment below right now, do you use Nespresso? Because after this video, you might have some explaining to do. Okay, so Italy has this official organization. Think of it like the coffee police. They're called the Italian Espresso National Institute, and these people are serious about their coffee. Like really serious. They've written down exactly what counts as real espresso, and it's more precise than my grandmother's cookie recipe. Here's what they say. Real espresso needs exactly 7 grams of coffee. Not a little more, not a little less. 7 grams. That's about 1 tablespoon if you're measuring at home. The water pressure has to be exactly 9 bars. Now don't worry about what a bar is, just know it's a specific amount of pressure, like when you use a pressure cooker. The coffee has to take exactly 25 seconds to come out of the machine, and get this, they even measure the temperature of your finished cup. It has to be between 64 and 70 degrees Celsius. Oh, and here's my favorite part. You need a certified coffee person to make it. That's right, according to Italy, pushing a button doesn't count. You need someone who actually knows what they're doing. Now I know what you're thinking, like these Italians are a bit obsessive about their coffee, and you're not wrong. But they invented the stuff, so maybe we should listen? All right, time to see how our beloved Nespresso machines stack up against Italy's rules. Remember how Italy wants 9 bars of pressure? Well, Nespresso uses between 15 and 19 bars. Too much pressure makes the coffee bitter, kind of like steeping your tea too long. What about coffee amount? Italy says 7 grams, Nespresso pods have 5 grams. You're just not going to get the same flavor. That smaller amount means you're simply not going to get the same richness and flavor intensity as you would from a traditional Italian-style espresso. Now here's where it gets interesting. Vertuo machines, you know, the ones that make that thick creamy foam on top, that foam isn't actually real coffee cream. Vertuo uses something called centrifugation. Basically, the pod spins at up to 7,000 revolutions per minute while hot water gets injected. That's incredibly fast. Imagine your washing machine on steroids. This spinning mixes air, water, and coffee together, creating bubbles that look like real cream. But here's the thing, real espresso cream comes from natural oils in the coffee beans getting pressed out under pressure. What Vertuo makes is mechanically whipped foam, like the difference between whipping cream by hand versus using an electric mixer to beat air into it. It looks similar, but it's completely different. Kind of like how artificial vanilla tastes sweet, but it's not the same as real vanilla beans. I feel a bit like I'm telling you Santa isn't real, but somebody has to break the news. So I wanted to hear from the coffee experts. There's this guy named James Hoffman. He's like the Gordon Ramsay of coffee, except British and probably nicer. He tested a bunch of Nespresso pods and basically said his exact words were that Nespresso makes coffee that's not as good as a fancy coffee shop, but better than Starbucks. Basically, Nespresso is the Honda Civic of coffee. Reliable, gets the job done, but nobody's going to write poetry about it. Then I found this study from Italy where they asked people what they thought of different coffee brands. Nespresso came out as okay quality, but expensive. Now, I get why Italians are a bit miffed about this. For them, making espresso is like a little daily ceremony. They go to their local coffee bar, chat with the barista, take a moment to slow down. Nespresso is more like, beep, coffee's ready, grab and go. It's efficient, but it's not exactly romantic. I decided to put this to the test because I'm nothing if not thorough when it comes to coffee research. First, caffeine. Nespresso gives you about 60 to 70 milligrams per cup. Traditional espresso gives you a bit more, up to 85 milligrams. So if you're wondering why you need 2 Nespresso pods to feel human in the morning, that's why. Then I did the foam test. Creamy layer on top of good espresso, it's supposed to last a few minutes. Nespresso foam disappears faster than my motivation on Monday morning. But here's the really interesting part. I had some local coffee shop baristas taste both kinds, and they all preferred the traditional espresso. Words like rich, complex, full flavor. Then I had my regular friends try both. People who just want their coffee to taste good and wake them up. And you know what? About half of them actually liked the Nespresso better because it wasn't as strong or bitter. Goes to show, sometimes we overthink things. If it tastes good to you, it tastes good to you. Here's the plot twist that nobody talks about. Even in Italy, the place where they invented espresso and have all these strict rules, millions of people use Nespresso machines at home. So what's going on here? First, time. Making traditional espresso is like making pancakes from scratch on a Tuesday morning. Sure, it's better, but who has time for that? Nespresso is like having frozen waffles in the freezer. Pop, toast, done. Second, it's foolproof. I don't know about you, but I can barely operate my TV remote before my first cup of coffee. Nespresso doesn't require me to be a barista before 8 a.m. Third, consistency. We've all been to coffee shops where the barista is having an off day and your coffee tastes like dishwater. With Nespresso, you know exactly what you're getting every time. I found people online saying things like, look, it's not perfect espresso, but it's good enough for my daily routine. And honestly, that's probably how most of us feel about a lot of things in life. Our cars, our cooking, our ability to use our smartphones. Sometimes good enough is actually pretty good, especially when the alternative requires skills we don't have time to learn. So the question is Nespresso real espresso? According to Italy's official rules, no. It fails on almost every technical point. Not enough coffee, wrong pressure, wrong method. But is it bad coffee? Also no. It's perfectly decent coffee that does what most of us need it to do. Wake us up and taste good. Traditional espresso is for people who want to learn the art of coffee making, measuring, timing, practicing. Nespresso is for people who want good coffee without the homework. Both choices are perfectly fine. Life is too short to feel guilty about your coffee choices. So now you know the whole story. Nespresso isn't technically real espresso by Italian standards, but millions of people love it anyway. Here's what I want you to do. If you get a chance this week, try both kinds and see what you think. Don't worry about what the experts say. Trust your own taste buds. I really want to hear from you in the comments. Thanks for watching, coffee lovers. Now go enjoy whatever's in your cup.